What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to Planet Zoo. General G here, and today we're going to be playing this game, just for a little bit, checking it out. I have had a little bit of experience. I kind of came through and started doing some of this stuff, but we're going to go ahead and start through the career tutorials, just to give everybody an idea of how to play the game, if you've never done it. This game is a lot of fun. I'm excited to check this out. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this game, or This Land Is My Land, or any of the other games we play on this channel. To help support the channel and keep this content coming. Then that way I know too, you know, what do people like to watch. I want to play games that you like to watch and have fun at the same time, so let's do that. But for now, we're going to play Planet Zoo.
Heyo at Hematu. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung into the carpets. As you know, I own several zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prides, thanks to a lion breeding program we ran in the 80s. But we're in the middle of a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fur allergy. Poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. So, it's up to you to finish everything off. Don't worry, though. I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head keeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
Hello there. From that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma, because we're about to get really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals. We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
Alright. So let's locate the grizzly bear habitat. Wonder where it could be. Oh, there it is.
Did you know that grizzly bears, also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year? But then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too.
Nice. That looks amazing.
Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel. See now, this is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals. You can also get this view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it. Okay, when you're ready,
Nice.
Let's pop over to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions. I've marked their location for you to find.
Okay, let's find the lions. Oh, could they be over there? Meow.
Panthera leo, or the West African lion to you and me. Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be as many as 40 lions in a pride, although prides of that size are pretty rare. As Bernie would
Watch out,
say,
dude.
those lions are awesome, which is precisely why I handle the training instead these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to an empty habitat and see what needs doing there.
Cool. Alright, where's the empty habitat? Let's go see.
As you can see, it's a lovely space for animals,
Okay.
but it's missing a certain something. Well, two somethings. Warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section.
Okay, so we go to animal trading.
There we are, a pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo. Just click on them and select Adopt from the side menu.
There we
Normally
go.
the animal exchange would be full of animals, but I've emptied out the market while you learn how it works. The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants. When you adopt an animal, it's automatically placed in the trade centre, where they're held until you're ready to move them into their habitat, which, as it happens, you are. So how about you move them into their new home?
There we are. We are working on that right now.
When you ask for an animal to be moved into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade centre, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected habitat.
Here it
I've
comes.
marked the trade centre's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action.
Watch him. Ready? Yeah. Okay, where's the trade center?
Well, as you can see, those caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals to their
There we go.
destination as fast as possible. Of course, normally we'd have to place the animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat, but I am assured by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the very rudest of health.
Hakuna
Right,
Matata.
let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy. You see, each animal in the zoo has an overall welfare statistic, basically how happy they are. And that overall welfare statistic is itself
here.
comprised of 4 different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment.
Okay.
Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information.
Okay.
Let's start by making sure we're taking care of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now, each animal requires a different type of feeding station. And for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
Okay. So, we need to go to habitat. And a food trough. So if you click on the food trough, it'll show you over here what type of animal uses this. So we're looking for the common warthog. Common warthog. So there we go. Obviously they have that already selected for us, but it'll tell you again. Common warthog. There we go.
Animals also require stimulation to keep them happy. Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in.
Okay.
That bath will count towards their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy enrichment welfare.
Nice. We put it over here where people can see it pretty well, maybe. Well, let's move this. And then we'll put the mud bath right here, so that way everybody can get a good look.
Oh, nice work. You've
There
got a
we go.
knack for this, I see. Now, our contractor had to leave in a hurry, so this place is in a pharaoh's state. Unfinished thingamajigs and whatsits all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the ostrich habitat. It's over near the hippos.
Ostrich? But these guys aren't in... Don't they want any toys? Oh well. I guess not. Let's go find the ostrich habitat, shall we? Up, up, up like a balloon. And there's one right now. Oh, where'd it go? Look at that balloon. Cool. Well, there's the ostriches.
Oh, before we actually start building our ostrich habitat,
Okay.
let's pause the game. Just click the pause button in the bottom right
Pause.
corner.
Okay.
That's more like it. A quick break. Sometimes it's a good idea to pause the game whilst you're doing something which requires your concentration, because it'll stop the zoo spinning out of control while you're looking the other way. Let's keep the game paused while we get this ostrich habitat built.
Okay.
Okay. Job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it.
Barrier. And it'll have your gates and your walls. We're obviously in tutorial mode, so you're not going to have everything, but there's your gate. And it will automatically connect to the path.
Let's complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches.
Okay.
I've marked out an area for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
Okay. So let's go ahead and snap click it there. And try to make this at least somewhat. Can't go there. I kind of want to make it to come out here a little bit, so I'm going to start from here. Come this way. And then we'll just kind of go
Good
there.
work!
There we go.
Remember, before you can place animals in any habitat, it has to have a full loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this habitat at the moment.
Correct.
At least not without a stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier, so the
Okay.
guests can see in.
So see, now we have multiple options for barriers. So we can select this one and turn it to glass.
There we go. Adding in more windows gives guests even more opportunities to see the animals in a habitat.
I
It's
guess
always best to make sure the guests can get a good view into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't.
Right.
The last thing we need to do is to add a donation box. You see, when guests enjoy the view of an animal, they'll make a donation. Just make sure you put them in easy-to-reach
Donations, it's under
places like near a
finance.
viewing point.
Guest
Donation
facilities and
boxes are
finance.
one of the main sources of income for the zoo, so make sure you remember them.
We'll put it right there.
Now, before we adopt our ostriches, you should click the play button. After
Okay.
all, if the game's paused, then so are our caretakers, which will make it
There
a
we
bit
go.
tricky for them to deliver the ostriches, eh? By the way, as well as pausing the game, you can speed the game up by clicking on the fast forward button. It'll run everything at 2 times and 5 times faster.
Right.
It can be useful, especially if you're waiting for money to accumulate or for animals to be delivered to your habitat. Personally, I use it when I'm waiting for a brew to finish. All right, you've finished the habitat, so it's high time we adopted those ostriches, don't you think?
Oh, we did it.
Let's get 4 of them in here.
Correct. So we'll go here. We have them waiting, so you go here and you click Send to Zoo. Once you buy them from here, so you'll go to the animal market, you'll buy them. And once you have bought them, they'll go to animal storage. And then you just need to click Send to Zoo. And if this was not completed,
While we wait for them to be
If this was
collected
not
by
completed,
the caretakers and
it
brought
would not
to the
let you put 'em in
habitat,
there.
you should get it ready for them. Add a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item.
okay.
It's often best to place things like enrichments and feeding stations near to the habitat perimeter, so guests can get a really good view of the animals.
Common ostrich. So we'll put feeding one here and a large water trough here. You hold down Z, at least on my computer, and you place it there. You can rotate it if you hold down Z. And then we need a food enrichment. So you come over here to enrichment items. You have toys, climbables, food enrichment. This is a slow feeder. We'll put that right here. Alright.
Oh, good to see the ostriches have somewhere they can really stretch their
Yeah.
legs.
Thanks, Bernie.
Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour? Oh, heaven
Nice.
forbid they ever escape. The speed camera fines alone would bankrupt us.
Oh, good grief, Bernie.
Well, Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did he do his speed camera joke? Every time we get an ostrich.
Nice.
So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches
see.
and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut.
Okay.
Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time walking when they should be looking after the animals.
Alright. So let's build a keeper hut now. So that's going to be under facilities. You have guest facilities, staff facilities. Classic keeper hut small. Zoo or Planet Zoo keeper hut small. I
You'll
like the
need to
classic one.
rotate the keeper hut to get it to connect up to the path.
Right. So like I said, if you hold Z, the only thing that is a little interesting is that you can't. So if you can see how it's. I wish I could square it up, basically. But you have that one to this one. And it's like, okay. Oh well. Yeah, we did it.
This keeper hut only has space for one keeper, but the larger keeper hut can allow multiple
look in
keepers
here
to
too.
prepare food at the same time. Oh, but bear in mind that keeper huts and other staff facilities shouldn't be placed near to areas where there are lots of guests. Guests don't like seeing facility buildings, and it can affect their happiness.
Okay. Well,
Negatively.
we'll have to
In
remember
case
that.
that wasn't clear. Something that all facilities, shops, and a whole host of other objects need is power. And that obviously includes your
Meats.
newly built keeper hut. So let's place a transformer next to it, shall we?
So you go over here to utilities, and you'll have different options eventually. This is
Now,
transformer.
the reason everything has gone blue is because you're using the power heat map. This map allows you to see what is and what isn't powered in your zoo. So once you've placed your transformer, you can click in the bottom left to turn the heat map off.
This one right here, heat map. This will tell you all kinds of different
Lovely
things.
work. Now the keepers can start
It's
using
down here in
the
the
hut
bottom
to
left.
prepare food. And thanks to where you've put it, they won't need to walk very far to deliver it to the ostriches and hippos. Let's get on to your next objective then.
Okay.
Bengal tigers.
Ooh,
We want
nice.
to adopt some, but I'm afraid there's nothing ready for them yet. Head on over to the plot of land I've marked out. It's not too far away.
Over here.
Righty, your next job is to build a habitat from scratch.
Okay.
And concrete and glass, I expect. So go ahead and build it. Just make sure that the habitat includes that big hole we've dug. Oh, and don't forget to add a habitat gate to the barrier.
Right. Okay. So let's go ahead.
And make sure the guests will be able to see the tigers.
Right. So let's go ahead and go to barriers. Let's go ahead and do concrete this time since we've already done brick. Go ahead and go this way. Whoa. There. And then we'll switch to brick. Well, what is the 6 and 5? So concrete's actually better. As far as, like right here, resistance grade. Dilapidation rate is moderate. Okay. Let's just do this one out of concrete. Since we already did one with bricks on the ostriches. Gonna make a nice little... Probably turn those corners into... Whoa, whoa, whoa. Into, viewpoints. There we go. And we'll complete it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so then we want to make sure that we have a habitat gate, right? So barriers need a habitat gate. The keeper hut is right here, so we may as well put it somewhere very close.
Now, Bernie takes safety very seriously at his zoos, so we should probably make sure those tigers can't jump out of their habitat, don't you think?
Yes.
The way we'll do it is by changing the height of the habitat's barrier. Okay then, you should start by double-clicking the habitat barrier, which will take you into barrier editing mode.
Okay. So then you have this arrow here.
Great. Now
Drag it all the way
highlight the
around.
entire perimeter of the habitat. You can do that by clicking and dragging the barrier selection tool.
Correct.
Now you've got all of the perimeter selected, you can increase the height of it by clicking and dragging the barrier height tool upwards. You'll want to make sure it reaches a height of at least 3.7 meters.
3.7. Let's just do 4.
Now that the habitat is in place, don't forget to put down a donation box near to your viewing areas.
We're not even done yet.
Every dollar we can get. Especially as these tigers aren't exactly eating instant noodles for lunch. Okay, that's the habitat boundary complete, the habitat gate in place, and most importantly, the tigers won't be able to jump out of it anymore. I think it's time we adopted those tigers.
I wanted to turn that to glass. Oh, lady. Okay. So we go here. Adopt. Send to zoo. Here. Adopt. Send to zoo.
Whilst our trusty caretakers collect and deliver the tigers, let's take a look at preparing the habitat for their arrival.
Okay.
We'll start with the basics. Add a suitable feeding station for them.
Okay, we're going to do those feeding stations right here, because I want to turn these into windows. This one. Yeah. Food. Large food tray.
This time, instead of adding a water bowl, let's try something different.
Okay.
Some animals need a pool in their habitat so they can go for a swim, but they can also use it to drink from. All you have to do is make sure the banks of the pool have a gentle slope so they can easily get a nice, refreshing drink. There's already a pool excavated, but you still need to fill it with water. You should do that by going into terrain and selecting the water tool.
Water. Calm water.
Yes, that'll do nicely. Of course, just like the warthogs and ostriches, these tigers will also need some enrichment. Why don't you add some suitable toy and food enrichment items into their habitat?
There we go. Yes. Toy. Ooh, what is this? This is a frozen blood pumpkin. Let's put that over here. Okay. How many? Toy enrichment, yes. How many? Grief, okay. Oh, toy enrichment. Oh, I thought she said food. Let's see.
Okay, it's really starting to take shape. Now, the tigers will need a shelter in their habitat so they can hide from the guests, or more likely, the bad weather. Although, given that we're in England, you might want to think of that just as normal weather. Go on, add a shelter to their habitat.
Okay.
You can either build one from various suitable bits and bobs, or if you like, just pop down the blueprint that I've already built for you.
So here's our blueprint. So you go to habitats. This will give you the animal stuff. Beds and shelters. Go to shelters. And here it is. Go ahead and turn it like this, so that way they get some privacy from the...
Oh, poor Dabs. I'm sure it can't have escaped your attention that the tigers look a bit miffed. That's because they aren't too keen on the type of terrain in their habitat.
Increase.
Select a tiger and bring up its information panel.
Okay.
Rightio. Click on the terrain tab. That
Okay.
way you can view the terrain information and see how they feel about the different types of
They
terrain.
need less long
That'll tell
grass.
you what the tigers need more of
More
or less
soil.
of in this habitat.
So we got a terrain.
Okay then, open the terrain editing tool, select painting,
Soil heavy?
and give them some more soil. Yes, that should help with the habitat part of their welfare.
We need less long grass. There we go. Uh-oh. Now we need more short grass, so we can come in here and look and see where's the long grass. So we need less long grass and more short grass. So there we go. Perfect.
They say that good fences make good neighbors. I guess that's doubly true when one of the neighbors is a Bengal tiger. Still, those tigers look so happy that I doubt they'd leave, even if you did poke a hole in their fence. Oh,
Bernie?
but for heaven's sake, don't test that theory.
Right, let's head over to the Indian peafowls. I've been told that we need to improve their social welfare.
Okay, so I'm surprised that they didn't let me add glass to that. Okay, let's go to the peafowls. So I wanted to turn this one to glass, this one, and then this one, but I guess they're satisfied with that. There we go. Go over here real quick.
Now then, just find one of the peafowls and select them to open their information panel.
Nice.
Then we can have a good gander at how they're doing.
Alright, let's gander.
Although technically, I suppose gandering would just be for geese.
Social group.
Expand their social welfare, and we can get a bit more detail.
Okay. So,
Now, they've clearly
too
got
few
plenty of
adults.
space, and they're not stressed, but it looks like their social group isn't quite right.
too
So let's
few
find
adults.
out more. Click on the social tab at the top of their information panel to see what's wrong.
Okay, I did.
Right, as you can see, the peafowls need their population to be larger. To
Okay.
solve this little problem, you'll need to adopt 3 more female peafowls.
Okay.
Off you pop to the animal market then.
So, we're going to take this one, adopt, and send to zoo. This one, adopt, send to zoo. And one more, adopt, send to zoo. Here we
Good
go.
work on those peafowls. I expect they'll be delivered soon. But sadly, it sounds like our snow leopard is a bit grumpy. Let's head over there and see what's wrong with her.
Look at that. That looks cool. Let's just take a... Okay. Alright. Snow leopard. Here we come. Hello.
Just like people, animals can suffer from stress if things aren't quite right. You know, like when you see someone put in the milk before the tea bag. In the case of these snow leopards, they're a
Okay.
bit stressed by their lack of privacy.
Need more
You can
privacy.
lower their stress levels by swapping out the normal glass barrier by their cave for one-way glass.
Okay.
It's not a cheap option, but I think they're worth the expense, don't you? This
So-
will give the snow leopards somewhere to go when they want to get away from the prying eyes of the guests.
Now that we have... So we want to do this. This is one-way glass. Transparent from one side.
Of course, when an animal isn't in its natural biome, it's
So see,
probably
they can
going to be
see.
too hot or too cold.
They can see.
Unsurprisingly for the
in.
snow leopards, it's too hot. Even with the terrible British weather.
They
You
can't
should help
see.
cool it down by adding
can't
some
see the
coolers
people.
to their habitat. But
Okay.
let's start by opening up the temperature heat map and having a look-see at the temperature in the leopard's habitat.
Okay. Temperature heat map.
As you can see,
Oh,
we
yeah, it's
already
too
have
hot.
one cooler in there. Let's pop some more down and get as much of the habitat as chilly as we can.
Oh, there we
Luckily
go.
for us, this habitat already has power, but you'll need to make sure of that in the future.
Okay.
Just so you know, if any part of a habitat is powered, then the whole
There'll be
habitat
habitats,
will be powered.
heaters and coolers. Here's a cooler.
You can find heat maps for all sorts of helpful things, so do be sure to explore them and make good use of them.
Okay.
It'll take a little while for the temperature to adjust once you've added coolers or heaters, but now we've got the coolers in, we can address the leopards' terrain welfare. You see, what the leopards really want in here is snow and rock, so let's make that happen.
Well, let's do one more, because we have an area here that's not cooling. Okay. So let's exit that view. Click on terrain. And, well, let's first of all see, where is the snow leopard? Where are you? There she is. So, what do they need? So you've got to click on the animal and go to terrain, and it'll tell you animal needs less long grass and more snow. So less long grass. Go ahead and put some in there. There we go. So with the coolers in there.
All of that should give you a pretty good understanding of how to make animals happy.
Okay.
So I'd like you to go and check on all the other animals in the zoo and fix up any issues with their habitats.
Okay.
That'll increase the average welfare of the animals across the whole zoo. And that average welfare is a very important statistic. Now, to quickly see how all your animals are doing in the zoo, you should go into Zoo Management and then into the Animals section.
Zoo here, and then click on the animals.
As you can see, this list shows you the animals' overall welfare. So
There we
if
go.
something's amiss, then you can quickly pop over to them using the Locate button.
This is the locate right here.
I'm off for a cuppa while you make sure all the animals are well looked after.
Okay, so let's go to the tortoises first. They're orange. So if you click on this, it'll take you over there. So let's see, what do they need? Welfare. They need species, food enrichment, and toy enrichment. So they need better toys and food. So let's do that. Let's see, what do tortoises like? Food enrichment, right? And toy enrichment. So let's look. Again, like I said, if you click on these things, so we're looking at the, whatever that is, Aldabra giant tortoise. This should give you an idea of the things that, oh no, I didn't want to click on that. Oh, I thought I put it in there. You can look quickly. Aldabra giant tortoise. So herb scent markers. Let's go ahead and put one there. Okay, so that helped a little bit. Let's do one more. See if we can't find something that they like. Giant tortoise. Well, there we go. They like the duck. Okay. Now we'll do food. There we go. One for here. And we'll do one here. So that just increased them to 100%. Let's check their terrain. Animal needs more long grass and more sand. So let's do that. So, more long grass. Let's go ahead and do that. Get the long grass. Okay, long grass is good. And animal needs more sand. So let's make sure they have enough sand. There we go. So now their terrain is in the proper area too. Okay, so let's check them on the zoo. Alright, these guys are back up relatively high. Their habitat's a little low. Let's check that. Oh, they need a shelter. So let's see. Habitat, shelter. What is used for... Ooh, that's huge. I would think something small. For tortoises. 8 by 8, maybe? That's huge. Okay, let's see if we can find something 4 by 4. There we go. Something small. So let's go ahead and put it here. And then we can adjust it once we get it there. So if you just click it there, we can tap it here and then go to advanced move and rotate. And then we can actually go up and down with it here. We can move it side to side or rotate it, whatever we want to do. But that looks relatively even. So that's good. Let's go ahead and add some sleeping or some bedding. And again, it'll tell you who uses this type. So the giant tortoises use both of these. Come on, let's do one of these too. Okay, now let's check on them. Social, they're stressed. Stressed and trying to hide. So what can we do about that? Well, if we look at their habitat. So they have a shelter. I guess it's not very good, but let's look at their environment. So tropical is their environment. You can add some different things for them to hide behind. Which will help them to not be so stressed. Let's see, what else? Banana palm, cool. Okay. So how are we doing now? Severe social issues that have severe stress. Okay. Got a few more rocks here. And then we'll raise this bedding up just a hair. Okay, so let's look at the zoo. See, they're doing bad. Really bad. So what if we replace this with one-way glass? Okay. How's that for our stress level? Oh, there we go. Okay. Good. Okay. So let's look again at over here. The tortoises are doing well, so let's go find the next orange one here. The zebras. What do they need? So they need the same thing. Food enrichment and toy enrichment. So let's go here to habitat. Enrichment. Food enrichment. So these ones are plain zebras. Nope. Nope. Oops. Maybe a grazing plain zebras. There we go. So let's keep an eye on there. 33%. What else could we add? Plains zebras. There we go. So we're at 100% on that. So then we'll go to toys. What would a zebra like to play with? Maybe a little thing to rub on, maybe? Okay, where are the people at? Where are our viewers? Up top. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these right here.
Not bad.
There we go.
Not bad at all. I think it's fair to say that you've passed the first part of your training with flying colours.
Awesome.
There's still lots more to learn, but we'll have to head to another one of Bernie's zoos for that. If you want to grab your passport, we'll head off, shall we?
Alright, guys. Well, we passed that one. So we're going to save that one. And then we're going to call it good for this episode, and we'll do another episode on the next one. So if you guys like this Planet Zoo, if you enjoy playing this game, or this type of game where you manage and do things of that nature, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we will keep this up. And this next time we're going to go through this one, and we're going to go through the next few here. And we'll just keep going with it. So thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. Go ahead and like and subscribe, like I said, and we will keep it up, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Alright, guys. You guys have a good rest of your day. Thanks. Bye, guys.